401ks suck. The stock markets suck. They only benefit the people who own the companies that you're investing in. So don't do it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Okay, actually, obviously I have a lot more thoughts than that, so stick around. So most of the content on this channel revolves either around the maintenance we're doing on our property with our tractors and our other equipment, or it revolves around the businesses that I run, which is manufacturing and lawn care and real estate investing. Today we're going to shift and we're going to talk about money. Talking about money generally makes people uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable. I'd rather be talking about my John Deere. So if I'm going to talk about which lawnmower I prefer, or handheld blowers versus backpack blowers, I'm also going to tell you what I'm making per hour mowing lawns for customers, so that you can make an educated decision about if that's something you want to do. So this channel is not a financial channel by any means, but I am going to talk about the cost and the profitability of a lot of the things I do. So we're going to talk about several different ways that I think you can do better by investing in yourself than you can letting the market decide your fate with a 401k or stock market. Now, if I had to guess, most of my audience is either rural or they want to be, and I think that's a great thing. I can personally understand why anyone would live in a bigger city. So most of what I'm going to tell you today is going to seem like common sense to a lot of people who live out in the country, that we want to be self-sustaining and provide for our own livelihoods as much as we can. But I do want to combat a couple of narratives that we've had fed to us and stuff that I started out believing, and that is that our retirement can come from two places, which is Social Security and a 401k. Social Security is something that we all hope is there for us. We've put money into it, it's our money and we deserve it, but there's no guarantee that we will get money from it or that the money we get from it will be a living wage. As a matter of fact, I'd almost guarantee that it's not. The second point is a little more contentious, and that's about investing in the stock market and in a 401k as a means of building wealth and getting ready for retirement. If I'm being honest, I would say that the 401k is a scam in the way that it's sold to us. I don't want to say that it's completely bad or that no one should put money into a 401k. But if your plan is to retire by putting a percentage of your wages into a 401k, it may not work out for you that well, or at least there may be some better options. Now, before anyone goes in the comments and says, what about compound interest, or I must not be able to do math, I understand all that. I understand dollar cost averaging, and I know that over the long term people do earn a return by investing in the stock market. I also do believe that the American economy is going to be strong into the future. My purpose in making this video is to discuss some other options that maybe you haven't thought of, or maybe you've thought of but haven't taken that next step on, and just give my experience and what I've learned in investing in a few properties and starting some side businesses. When you're thinking about what you want to do to prepare for your future, the question I ask myself is, who are you putting your faith in? Are you going to put your faith in yourself and your own ability, or in hoping the market works out? Investing in a 401k is like putting your money in prison. Wait 30 years and hope it's enough. And I don't like to be passive. I like to take action that's going to lead to the result I want. When you invest in a 401k plan, you sign up a percentage that you want to put into the plan, and you set it, and you mostly forget it. You may go on every once in a while and check the balance or see the returns they're showing you, and feel good when you see a number, say $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 You think $50,000, that's a lot of money. But you can only live a year on that. Statistically, the average person who spends their working life contributing to a 401k retires with $179,000 in the bank. That sounds like a lot, once again. I mean, who wouldn't want $179,000? I know I would. But how long are you going to live, and at what quality of life on that money? I'll tell you right now that I would rather have 3 properties that I own free and clear than $179,000 in a 401k. And again, if you live in a different market, you may say 3 properties for $179,000. If you're rural, that's not unusual at all. My first rental property was a house that I spent $14,000 on. I then spent $18,000 and some of my time to fully renovate that house. New electrical, new plumbing, ground up. And it appraised for $55,000. I then took out a $40,000 mortgage on it, and that means that at the end of that refinance of the mortgage, I had $8,000 cash more than I started with, and the property cash flows. See, real estate has 4 types of income. You have cash flow. That means that every month someone gives me more money in rent than the house payment and insurance and taxes cost. That's cash flow every month. Hopefully, you're in a position that you can roll that cash flow back into an account for that property, use it for repairs, or for the next property. The second income source on real estate is appreciation. In general, properties go up in value. I understand that there is such a thing as an overinflated market. But on some level, a house is always worth as much as it costs to build it. In a rural area like where I live, I can buy a property for less than it costs to build it because it's in need of repairs, then use sweat equity to make it worth more than the cost to build it. At this point, if there's inflation or an increase in the housing market, then my net worth is increasing. And net worth is something you can access later if you want, or you can work towards paying those debts off, depending on where you're at in life and what your strategy is. The third income source for rental property is mortgage paydown. So I already mentioned that when I get the rent every month, there's cash flow left after I pay all the expenses associated with the property. What I didn't say is that someone else is paying my mortgage down. So if I get a $500 rent check and the mortgage is $350, I'm cash flowing that $150 that I've already talked about, but additionally, out of the money I paid the bank, $250 of that goes towards principal paydown on the mortgage, and that's increasing my net worth. The fourth income source from rental property is tax benefits. For example, the house we were just talking about that was worth $50,000, on paper, on my taxes, I can claim that that house depreciates every single year. It's not just I can, it's kind of an automatic thing. You get to claim depreciation, while in reality, the house is appreciating. Now, I don't know about you, but I like paying less taxes, especially if I'm paying less taxes while making more money. Real estate is my favorite and the most proven way to build wealth, and I think everyone should be looking to invest in real estate. But there are smaller, more practical ways that someone who doesn't have the money or the credit score to immediately jump into real estate can take advantage of. For instance, if I had the choice between $1,000 in the stock market through a 401k, where I can say, well, in 30 years or 40 years, I'm going to get that $1,000 back and pay taxes on it. Or I could have a log splitter. New, most of them are $1,500. You can pay $10,000 if you want a really fancy one. But you can also get one for $400 if you get a used one that's maybe a little smaller. But we'll just say $1,000. Instead of putting that $1,000 into the stock market, I bought a log splitter. Now, I have the opportunity to make money today. I can cut firewood, sell firewood. I can take whatever time I have after my normal job, whether that's being self-employed like I am, or if you're working for another company. When you get done with that, you can cut firewood and earn extra money, and I guarantee you can make more than a 3% return. You'll hear people say that the stock market will return 8% over the last 100 years, or statistics like that. And that's true, the stock market as a whole does, but your 401k doesn't. You may go onto your 401k website and see funds that are getting great returns like that, but what they don't talk about is the fees associated with it. I said a minute ago that the average 401k at retirement is $179,000. On average, the person who has that $179,000 in their 401k paid $100,000 in fees. Say it again, $100,000 in fees. And you say, how is that even possible? Well, time. They have fees every time you do something. Transfer money within the fund, even if you didn't know you were doing it. A lot of times they sell you on a fund that adapts as you get older. Well, what that really is a way to change the funds you're in and charge a fee every time. Personally, I don't have any interest in paying those fees. The numbers I've seen show that your actual return on a 401k is between 3.6 and 4%. Even if I'm wrong, let's say it's double that. I believe in myself and in my ability to earn a better return than that. So if you subtract 3% for inflation, at that point, you're getting almost no return. And what if we see bigger inflation? If you look at the way things are being done by our government right now, we could see 5, 6, 8% inflation, at which point your money will be worth less at retirement than what you put into it. And I know that I can do better than zero return. So I started off by talking about large investments like rental property. Then I talked about a smaller investment where you buy something like a chainsaw or a lawnmower or a log splitter, and you start working in the time you normally spend watching YouTube or watching TV. But let's say you don't even have money to buy a lawnmower. Then what would my advice be? So if you don't have any money to invest, then you're going to have to invest what you do have, and that's time. I know everyone's busy. I'm busy, you're busy, but everyone can find a little bit of time to invest in their self and in their future. You do that through education. There are so many great education channels on YouTube. If you're doing real estate, Bigger Pockets is fantastic. Graham Stephan is a really good resource. You can use these channels to learn and to grow. They can teach you how to invest without putting much money down. Another way you can invest your time is in a second job or a side hustle. Maybe you have an idea of what you want to do in your future, and you can find someone who's doing that and work for them, and then build up into what you want to be doing. What did I do personally? I worked 2 jobs for about 2 years so that I could build up the equity to start my own adventure. So after I spent 2 full years working at 2 jobs, one job was 40 to 50 hours a week and another 25 to 30 at the second job, I left one job and I started a side business building portable pitching mounds. The first year, I built every pitching mound myself. That was about 500. And now, 3 years later, that business has 8 employees, and I've stepped out of that business and I've devoted my time to building additional streams of income. Another option would be to stop putting money in your 401k. Take that difference and invest that money in yourself. Now, what would I do if I had a 401k today? Well, I don't have to speculate because it wasn't very many years ago that I had a decent amount of money in a company 401k. What I did was borrowed money against that 401k, borrowed money from myself, and used it to purchase our first home. Then I stopped making contributions to the 401k and just made the repayments. Then when I made the decision to become a business owner and be self-employed full-time, I cashed out my 401k. I'm certainly not giving that as advice to you to cash out your 401k because there's penalties and you have to pay taxes on that money at that time. Mathematically, it's not a great decision. But I believed in something, I had started something, and when I went for it, I needed that little bit of buffer, and I'm glad I did it. I think anyone who's watching this and wants to be self-employed or wants to take control of their retirement has a talent, a skill, an ability, or just the work ethic to do it. Because it doesn't take any special talent or extra skill. All it takes is a belief in yourself, a clear vision, and the energy that you put into it. So if you're not happy where you're at, I'd say take that money you might have invested otherwise and put it into a side hustle and start working on yourself and taking control of where you want to go in life. I appreciate anyone who's taken the time out of their busy day to watch this video, and if you enjoy this type of content or the type of content that I normally make, then please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.